Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. Alhamdulillah, I am fine too. So today we'll be dealing with the next part of the union government. In the previous class, we have understood the union legislature. Therein we understood Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the members of Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, qualification required to become the member, and also we also understood the role of the opposition leader and also the Lok Sabha speaker. Today we'll be dealing with union executive. The executive implement the laws framed by the union legislature. As we all know, the parliament has three organs. Which are those three organs? Legislature, executive and judiciary. So the role of the executive is to implement the laws that are framed by the union legislature. Whatever laws are being framed in the legislature, that should be implemented by these executive people. It implements the programs and policies of the union government. Whatever programs and new policies are being adopted by the union government, that should be implemented by this union executive. Now, who are there in union executive? The union executive consists of the president, prime minister and his council of ministers. The union executive consists of whom? The president, the prime minister and his council of ministers. Like prime minister has his own council of ministers. Different ministers are there under him. The heads of the different departments. It may be education department, it may be finance department, railway department, etc. etc. So these all ministers are called as council of ministers. The president is the head of the executive only in the name, whereas the prime minister and the council of ministers form the actual executive. Means the president no doubt is the head of the executive, but the actual work is done by the prime minister and his council of ministers. Now, who is the President of India? Yes, he is Ramnath Kovind. He is the Indian President and he is called as the constitutional head of the country. He is also called as the first citizen. He is the head of the executive and also he is the commander-in-chief of all the three armed forces, that is Army, Navy and Air Force. These are the three armed forces. And who controls it? The president controlled it and he is the commander-in-chief. He enjoys the highest position in the country and he is the custodian of the executive powers of the nation. He enjoys the highest position, means he is greater than prime minister, and he is the custodian, means caretaker or guardian of the executive powers of the nation. No court of law can question his conduct and prosecute him. Whatever decision is taken by him is for the betterment of the citizens of India, for the development of the country. So no one can question him and no one can punish him also. So this is the role of a president. Now, certain steps have been followed for the election of the president. What are those steps? Article 54 and 55 of the Constitution stipulate the way the president should be elected. It guides, it gives us the steps how the president should be elected. In which article? Article 54 and 55 of the Constitution. The president is elected by an electoral college of elected members of both the houses of parliament, all elected members of legislative assemblies and of all the states. Now, who are the participants of this electoral college? They are the members of Lok Sabha, members of Rajya Sabha, members of different legislative assemblies, legislative council and also union territory members are there who elect the president. The Supreme Court judge administers him the oath of office. Means he should take a vote. Vote taking ceremony will take place as soon as he becomes the president. Now who is in charge of taking that oath for him? The Supreme Court judge will take the vote for him. Okay, he will guide him to take the vote. His term of office is 5 years. He is a president of India for the term of 5 years. But he is also eligible for re-election. Once his years term is over, he can also be re-elected as president for another 5 years or more. Okay. When he goes against the constitution, he can be removed from the office by the parliament through a motion of impeachment. So when he is violating the constitution, he is going against the constitution, he also can be removed by the members of the parliament. Okay. So through what they can remove him? Through the motion of impeachment. This motion of impeachment is an agreement or in circular or in we can say document which removes the president from his presidency. Okay. And when it is done when he is violating the constitution, because he is the protector of the constitution. And when if someone ensures that he is violating the constitution, he is going against the constitution, then he can be removed. Now what are the qualifications to become a president? Okay, like how we know there are different qualifications to become the member of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The qualifications to become the president are: he should be a citizen of India, he should have completed the age of 35 years, he should be qualified for the election as a member of Lok Sabha, means whatever qualities or whatever qualification a Lok Sabha member is having, that same qualities even he should be having. Okay, then only he can become the president of India. He should not hold any office of profit under the government, or else he will be punishable. So these are the qualifications to become a prime minister. Now what are his powers? There are different powers that have been executed by the president. First power is the executive powers. Now what are executive powers? Sorry. All administration is carried out in the name of the president. The president appoints the prime minister, and on his recommendation he appoints the other ministers. Okay. So the president has the power to appoint the persons to high post like Supreme Court and High Court judges, governors, chairmen, members of Finance Commission, chairmen and members of Union Public Service Commission, that is UPSC, election commissioners, etc. etc. So whatever appointment should be done to the higher post is done by the president. That powers are called as executive powers. Next are the legislative powers. What do you mean by legislative powers? The president has the power to summon the parliament or postpone its sessions. Means he can conduct meets, and also he can postpone that. A bill which is passed by both the houses becomes an act only after it receives the approval of the president. So if any bill is to be passed in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the approval of president is necessary. The president may either re-examine such bills or return them or withhold them for some time. He can recheck it, he can send it for again renewal or for reimbursement for changing some points and all. He may also nominate 2 Anglo-Indians to the Lok Sabha and 12 members to the Rajya Sabha. In the previous session, I have already explained you this part. In all these functions, he acts upon the recommendation of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. They all together take this decision. Next are the judicial powers. The President has the power to reduce the term of imprisonment of criminals and to cancel the capital punishment. Capital punishment means jurmana. If any case is there on some person, some criminal, so they have to pay some amount to the government. That capital amount is been reduced or cancelled by the president. He can approach the Supreme Court for suggestions with reference to the legal matters of the country. Any legal matters are there, he can approach the Supreme Court judge and he can take the decisions. Next are the financial powers. What are financial powers? A finance bill cannot be introduced in the Lok Sabha without the permission of the president. Means his approval is necessary. It is only after the permission granted by the president, the reports of the Finance Commission and the Auditor in General are discussed in the Parliament. So which bill should be discussed, that also is decided by the president. Now next is the military powers. The president is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces. He appoints the chiefs of the army, navy and air force, means the heads of these various armed forces. On the recommendation of the Union Cabinet. Union Cabinet means the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. He also declares war and peace on the recommendation of the Parliament. Whenever there is war taking place with our country, like China, Pakistan, Afghanistan, I'm giving just example, okay? So, those wars should be continued, or we have to declare the war, or we have to go for peace. That also is decided by the president. Next are the emergency powers. What are emergency powers? Emergency powers means the president has the power to declare emergency is an unnatural situation. This is explained from Article 352 to Article 360 under the 18th part of the Constitution. This concept is borrowed from Government of India Act of 1935. So whenever there is an emergency, the president has to take the decision. That is called as emergency powers. Next, let us understand what do you mean by discretionary powers. The president can exercise certain powers without waiting for the approval of the Union Cabinet. Union Cabinet, as I told you, who are Union Cabinet? The Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. He may invite the leader of any party to form the government when no single party has got the majority after an election. So usually we know which party is getting more number of seats, that party is called as the ruling party. But sometimes what happens, both the parties or more than 2, 4, 5 parties nobody has achieved the majority. Okay, when they don't achieve the majority, that time the president decides who has to rule the country. Okay. When the parliament approves a bill and sends it to him for approval, he may return the bill for reconsideration. So this is also a discretionary power. When the parliament is approving a bill, it comes for the approval of the president. That time he can return that bill to again recheck it. He may dissolve the Lok Sabha. Okay, he can. Now let us understand who is the Prime Minister. Who is the Prime Minister of India right now? Yes, Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of India. The Constitution has provided for a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as its head to assist and advise the President in the administration of the country. Okay, he is helping the President to take major decisions. Still, it is the Prime Minister who has the real power to carry out the administration. The President is the head of the country, whereas the Prime Minister is the head of the government. He remains in office as long as he enjoys the trust of the Lok Sabha. Means he is the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha. So as long as his members are along with him, then he can be as the Prime Minister of India. Now what are his powers? The powers of Prime Minister are that he can appoint and also remove the ministers and allocate the portfolios. Means the Prime Minister recommends to the President the appointment of ministers of the Council of Ministers. He also allocates the various portfolios among the ministers. Portfolios means which minister will become the head of which department. That is been decided by the Prime Minister. His decision is final in the allocation of portfolios. Okay. Now he is the head of the government. The Prime Minister is responsible for all the actions of the government. He coordinates the activities of the various ministers. He takes greater interest in framing policies related to planning, defense and foreign affairs. So this is his duty. So he is called as the head of the government. Next is head of Union Cabinet. Head of Union Cabinet means his cabinet is Union Council of Ministers. The meetings of the Union Cabinet are held under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister. All discussions of issues of national and international importance are discussed and decisions are taken under the chairmanship. He is the link between the President and the Cabinet. Means he is the Prime Minister. He is answerable to the President also. He is answerable to his Council of Ministers also. He is the mediator. He is a link between these two. Understood? Now let us understand the Union Cabinet. The Union Cabinet is the real executive and his ministers in two-headed case. The first one is the cabinet level and the second one is the ministers of the state. The maximum strength of the union cabinet is 15% of the total strength of the cabinet. Total strength of the cabinet, its 15% is the union cabinet. The cabinet has two kinds of responsibilities. This union cabinet, the council of ministers, has two kinds of responsibilities. The ministers of every department is responsible for the administration of his department. He has individual responsibility for the success and failure of his department. Okay, the whole and sole responsibility of the department goes to that minister only. The union cabinet has collective responsibility to the parliament with regard to the decisions and policies taken by it. The union cabinet has to also take responsibility of the decisions and policies that have been taken by the parliament, that have been discussed in the parliament. Therefore, the cabinet can be in power only as long as it enjoys the trust of the parliament. When it loses the trust, it is removed by a no confidence motion. Means this cabinet survives only till when it enjoys the trust of the parliament. All the members are appreciating his work. Okay, and he is not humiliating or he is not cheating the country. Once he loses the trust of the parliament, then he also can be removed on no confidence motion, like how president can be removed in by what? By the impeachment, motion of impeachment. That way prime minister can be removed through no confidence motion. Means we don't have any confidence in you. If a majority of the Lok Sabha members lose their confidence, then this prime minister has to withdraw his or resign his position. The prime minister will lose his position when this no confidence motion is given. Okay, so I hope you all have understood the lesson. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Jazakallahu khair.